Florida is responding. We're talking about how the United States of America is responding federally. I mean, across the country, with 49 of 50 states having a positive COVID-19 test right now. Of course, this is something that impacts just about every community here in the United States. Let's see if we can bring in 8 on your sides, Victoria Price here, joining us live here from Tampa General. Hey there, Victoria. We've learned some new details here, some new information from the various state officials that we just heard from, as well as Tampa Mayor Jane Castor. What stuck out to you as far as what we've just learned?
Well, JB, I think one of the big things that was discussed here just a moment ago is how small businesses will be able to recover from this. Working families, individual families who, even just a couple of weeks into this crisis, are already some feeling the financial effects of this, whether they've been laid off, they can't go to work, they're in a compromised position taking care of kids. So how families can recover from this financially was definitely a big theme that was discussed today, and that was discussed both on the national, state, and local level. So kind of just starting from that broader umbrella and then working down, we know that from Congresswoman Kathy Castor that thanks to a couple of bills that have been passed by Congress, there's going to be a lot available to families when it comes now to unemployment benefits and things like that. So working people, there's going to be government reimbursed emergency paid sick leave for up to 2 weeks for those who may work for companies that don't necessarily have a paid sick leave policy. The government will be reimbursing small to medium-sized businesses, so any business with 500 people or less, so that people do have to self-quarantine, or perhaps if they have to take care of a sick one at home, they will be able to be paid for 2 weeks during that emergency paid sick leave that not all companies have in place. And so that's something that's being done by the federal government. A lot of steps being taken here in Florida as well. $50 million in small business disaster loans have been made available here in Florida for small businesses who are definitely going to be reeling from the effects of the coronavirus. There's already a website set up, floridadisaster.org, where businesses can right now begin to start filing the paperwork to apply for those small business loans. And so that is something that's a first come, first serve. That website is already live, and they're asking people, if you are a small business, to begin that process now so that hopefully they can get that aid to you as soon as possible. And then here locally in the Tampa Bay area, a number of resources being made available to working families and to small businesses as well. Mayor Jane Castor talking about call centers that the city of Tampa is now setting up and staffing to help walk businesses through some financial aid. A call center that'll be staffed by city attorneys so that they can walk people through how to apply for some of these small business disaster loans. A lot of people haven't done something like that before. They can be kind of tricky waters to navigate. So there are call centers that they expect to be live by this afternoon to help people, either businesses applying for some loans or perhaps people who've been laid off. There's unemployment benefits that are now being made available because of the coronavirus. That call center here in the city of Tampa will help folks to apply for that. They're also offering through their texting service, which has already been great about providing information about closures and medical updates. That's 888-777. If you text Tampa Biz to that, they're putting out resources specifically tailored to businesses because of that. So a lot of work that's being done to help these small businesses and to help working families that really just financially are very uncertain about how they are going to be navigating what's obviously going to be a very tumultuous time for the next few weeks. And JB, I would say, other than the little bit of an update at the end there about the testing capacity, helping small businesses, helping working families, that was really the overriding theme of this press conference, and the officials that spoke here earlier really trying to get across to people, both at the national, state, and local level, that they are doing whatever they can.
I know small business owners here in the Tampa Bay area that are so overwhelmingly, just concerned with everything that is going on. We're hearing about all these various state resources and various local resources and a lot of things that are going to be made available to people. But as far as pointing those small business owners in the right direction, Victoria, we're hearing, of course, we heard today from Secretary for Treasury Steve Mnuchin about perhaps there being cash coming Americans' way. We're hearing about Tampa Mayor Jane Castor talking about funds coming the way of small business owners. We're talking about, state assistance. It can be overwhelming. I guess the best place to point people would be local first and then kind of go up from there.
Exactly, and that's why Mayor Jane Castor was saying these call centers are to help people, whether it's applying for the small business loans, maybe you are someone who's been laid off and not working because of this. If you need to figure out how to apply for the unemployment benefits, they did say the process is the same as anyone who would be applying for non-coronavirus related unemployment benefits. But again, if you've never done that before, for a lot of people, these are uncharted waters. So with these local resources, for example, like the call center that's being set up here in the city of Tampa, that can really help to handle the multi-tier disaster recovery system that they're creating right now to help people both on the local, state, and national level with all of the different resources that are being created now to help people out.
All right, everybody, well, let's open up the live Q&A portion of WFLA Now here on our Facebook live stream. If you're joining us on Facebook Live, you'll be able to ask questions to our team here in the top left-hand portion of your screen. 8 on your side's Victoria Price, who was there asking questions to Tampa Mayor Jane Castor and also the lawmakers that were there in attendance. In the top right-hand portion of your screen, Daisy Ruth, who's been monitoring social media activity in the last half hour. I'm JB Buno down here in the bottom left-hand portion of your screen. So use the various hashtags, hashtag HeyJB, hashtag HeyDaisy, hashtag HeyVictoria. We'll do our very best to answer some questions here over the next 5-10 minutes or so before we have to wrap up here on WFLA Now and bring you various other press conferences that are going on right as we speak right now. A lot of questions about daycare, Daisy. What do we tell people regarding daycares for those folks that are asking in the comment section?
I believe quite a few. I'm seeing even across the nation. I know my niece's daycare is closed for 2 weeks, but we really haven't seen, JB, a lot of emails come through our inbox regarding daycare closures. I know the YMCA, we had just sent out a push alert, YMCAs in the area are going to be closing and turning into daycares for emergency workers for childcare for them. But as per specific daycares, I think that's on a case-by-case basis. If you haven't been to work this week and you need to take your child back to daycare tomorrow, I would definitely call your specific daycares. We have so many across the area.
And I would say, too, for daycares, just following your individual one is a good place to start. Vicki Hearn in the comment section, I'm going to throw this one your way here, Victoria, saying people asking about any information about post offices here in the area. Of course, delivery services right now becoming a major focus here. We've heard about Amazon. They want to increase the number of employees that they have doing delivery services. Uber Eats right now has no local delivery fee. So there are folks asking about post offices and other various delivery services going on in the Tampa Bay area right now. Do you have any information on that?
Unfortunately, that was not addressed. And one thing with the post office, that is a federal agency, so they don't have a ton of local control when it does come to that. So unfortunately, that was not anything that was discussed. Again, local businesses that offer delivery services are being encouraged to do so. And a lot of people are being encouraged here locally to support small businesses instead of maybe ordering Uber Eats or delivery from a big chain. They're encouraging, hey, if there's that great restaurant around the corner here in Tampa that you love, call them. Even if they don't normally do takeout and delivery services, a lot are shifting to that model in response to this. Give them a call, see if they'll give you some takeout or delivery, if they've changed their business model in response to this, and be able to help your local businesses out, because they are the ones who unfortunately are going to fall victim to this on the financial front first. But as far as mail and things like that, that was not addressed just because that really wouldn't fall under the jurisdiction of the city of Tampa.
Susan Torres in the comment section, hashtag HeyVictoria, and then Samantha Wyatt, hashtag HeyJB. Very similar questions here. What about the beaches being open still? Is it because of the tourism? Samantha Wyatt asking about the beaches. Why aren't the beaches closing? Victoria, obviously, we weren't expecting any significant announcement here in this press conference regarding the beaches. This one, of course, being held in the city of Tampa, a little bit of a distance away from St. Pete Beach, Clearwater Beach, some of the very popular beaches in our area. Of course, if you've been following everybody, our Twitter feed in the last 24 hours, I think we're up to 15 million views and counting. Wow. With some of the wild aerial views that we've had from Clearwater Beach, showing just a densely populated area of beachfront that just had so many people, probably on spring break, people from out of state, a lot of tourists. Nothing here, Victoria, in this press conference regarding beaches, but I know that has been a major talker online. A lot of people weighing in when it comes to our beaches. But as of right now, beaches are open. That could change in the future, but we really just don't know.
It really is a waiting game. I mean, this is a very fluid situation and things are changing, quite honestly, to the minute sometimes. Mayor Castor did kind of reference, or she didn't have any new information about closures here in Tampa. She referenced that the parks and rec centers had been closed, but open air spaces, for example, where we are right here, the Tampa Convention Center with the Riverwalk, these open air spaces for now are still open, and we've seen people out here either riding their bikes or taking a walk, things like that. So no new news on that front per se, but of course it is something that we're watching very closely because at this point so many things have been closed. It's kind of like what is left to close in these open air spaces. One of the few things left where people can go right now could be the next thing to fall victim to the closures. But again, no new news on that from this press conference. Mayor Jane Castor did reference that Parks and Recs facilities are closed, but right now the open air facilities are still open.
Again, JB Buno, Victoria Price, Stacey Ruth here with you live on WFLA Now. The last few questions we're going to be taking here. Jen in the comment section with all of us, hashtag Hey JB, hashtag Hey Victoria, hashtag Hey Daisy. What are the specifics about bars closing? We have a small pub and restaurant. Are we allowed to stay open like Beef O'Brady's and Hooters? Are we allowed to stay open because we serve food? What's the, Daisy, I don't know if there's something that we could provide as far as the specifics about local restaurants, but this is something that is also rapidly evolving.
Yes, that's definitely something we're going to have to check on, JB. I don't know if that would be something listed under the Florida Department of Health website where we've been getting all of our numbers for the past few weeks. But I've seen that question before, and it's Governor DeSantis did not specify what I guess defines a bar as compared to a restaurant. Are
because
you
30 days. 30. So
yes.
As of 5 o'clock today, 30 days they
for
have to close for bars and clubs. Right. So what does that mean? Is there a certain categorization or classification that designates something a bar versus a restaurant? Because bars very often serve food, and
yes.
just like restaurants serve alcohol. So where does it fall in as far as categorization? We'll get back to you on that, Jen.
And JB, I can actually jump in on that really quickly if you want.
Please do.
Because one of the big things with that, it all comes down to licensing, and businesses are licensed differently, a bar versus a restaurant. It all comes down in how their liquor license, their business license, their licenses from the city. And so that's going to be really where the distinction lies with that. And that's going to be a big distinction for some small business. If they are one of the ones that is listed as a restaurant, for example, here in the city of Tampa, they'll be able to stay open until 10 o'clock. Over in St. Pete, we know that last call is 9 o'clock. And so they are going to be able to stay open a little bit longer. Those businesses that have to close at 5 o'clock for the next 30 days are the ones who are purely registered. Their liquor license and business license are for bars and nightclubs. It's a distinction with the licensing, and that's really where the distinction is going to come down with this, is the licensing and how they are licensed. And I think a lot of bars that do serve food are probably swiping a couple sweats of bead off of their forehead right now, knowing that at least where things stand right now, they will be able to stay open because of that distinction.
Very interesting. Before we let you go here, Victoria, I just want to, I'm curious because making your way down to Tampa General Hospital for this press conference, just before we let you go, just kind of give us a feel as to what the tenor is like right now in the city of Tampa. Just making your way down to the press conference, traveling around today. This is obviously not normal circumstances. It's a little bit different as far as the energy here in the city of Tampa. What did you gather as far as just the environment here today and what's going on?
Yeah, not normal circumstances. I'd say that's a little bit of an understatement. Things are obviously quite out of the normal right now, but it's kind of an interesting juxtaposition. We're across from TGH right now. We're actually at the convention center. We're under one of the outdoor alcoves. And so kind of right behind me, a lot of folks who are familiar with this area is the Sail Pavilion, which is a super popular place to sit outside, get some food, have a drink, enjoy the water. And there's a number of people out there when we first walked up, and so there's this urgency with the news crews coming here and this press conference, and it's all very serious and it's a very dire situation. And then maybe 100 yards away you have folks that are sitting not super close, of course. I think a lot of folks are definitely sticking to open air situations where they don't feel claustrophobic and surrounded by tons of people. But there were a number of folks over there sitting, enjoying a drink, enjoying the beautiful weather that we're having today. And we're seeing folks on the Riverwalk taking a stroll, riding their bikes, again, enjoying the weather. So it's kind of an interesting juxtaposition. I don't know if a lot of those folks are maybe embracing the work from home and kind of slipping out for a longer lunch break. I don't know if there are people here on vacation that are running out of things to do. But there's definitely sort of an interesting dichotomy, even just right here where we are, where we had this press conference 10 minutes ago.
Victoria, any final notes on the press conference and things that we learned before we say farewell?
One thing that I thought was really interesting at the end that Mayor Jane Castor really made sure to emphasize is the fact that she says that the city, Tampa General Hospital, they are ready. They have the resources to ramp up the testing, which she says is absolutely necessary. I asked her at this point in time how many people in our community have been tested for COVID-19. She didn't have an exact number because now that testing is happening in a few different places, it's hard to really get a solid number. I asked her to kind of roughly quantify that. She said in the hundreds of people right here in Tampa in our community have been tested for COVID-19, but she said that number needs to be thousands where we are. It needs to be hundreds of people a day. Right now, the Hillsborough Health Department, they're at a capacity of 50 people a day. We were told that TGH, as they're operating right now, that's roughly their testing capacity. They could do so much more if the testing kits were available, and that I think is really the hole that could possibly sink the ship when it comes to this response. You have entities like Tampa General, Baycare, who are ready to roll out the drive-through testing centers. They are really ready to ramp this up. They have the people, they have everything else in place. They just don't have those testing kits. That's really the thing that the mayor emphasized at the end. We could be doing so much more, and we should be doing so much more. But at this point, because of the testing kits, we simply can't.
Victoria Price joining us from Tampa General Hospital. Everybody, again, you heard it there at the end. As far as Tampa Mayor Jane Castor, what she had to say, she thinks that the case count right now is woefully underestimated here in the Tampa Bay area and really across the state. Victoria, thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you back here, I'm sure, sir. We'll be looking for all of your reporting here in the hours ahead. Thanks for being with us. Let's get back here to Daisy Ruth here on WFLA Now. Daisy, a lot of people still asking about daycares, and I think that this is something that we're going to have to get answered.
Yes, private daycares, especially. I know definitely private daycares. You should be calling just to make sure. But the governor has not ordered any a mandate or anything coming from the state in regards to daycare in all of those press conferences we have been listening to with Governor DeSantis.
Everybody, this ends the live Q&A.